The sunset mediation has gone on for over 3 years. When does a mediation become a stall tactic for the benefit of 3 out-of-town failed land speculators? I think about 2.5 years ago. Enough is enough. I'm sick to death of being part of this secret mediation society. It is ridiculous and unacceptable that the majority of my elected commissioners are being kept in the dark about this matter. The only thing that this mediation has managed to accomplish is the bankrupting of my neighborhood's legal fund in the space of one 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. session. The straw that really broke the camel's back was city staff thinking that it was okay to put a question mark on the proposed land use map for the city in place of the zoning that is on the Sunset parcel now. If the tables had been turned and the zoning was in favor of the failed land speculators, you can be sure that there would not have been a question mark on that map. I'm beyond frustrated with the false perception that protecting a faceless entity called Lake Worth is more important than the protection of the citizens of Lake Worth. I want you to end this farce. I want you to end it now. Surprise, surprise, my neighborhood is not qualifying for the CDBG grant. It sure would be nice if the Sunset property could get a grant. My neighborhood can't get a twig. Surprise, surprise, the Osborne section gets more money poured into it. Again, my neighborhood, the redheaded stepchildren west of I-95, we can't even get a twig. I really think it's time that we were annexed back into the county. Thank you.
Peter Tim, followed by Mark Perillo.
Peter Tim, North O Street, mishwash of little things. Just now we've heard a presentation from the CRA and all the work that they are doing for the poor people. And he just held up stuff for the minorities and all of this stuff. I just wonder, is anybody working to attract people with disposable incomes to Lake Worth? Or is our only effort to try to get more minorities and more poor people into Lake Worth? I would love to see Lake Worth improve. I would love to see property values go up. And I would love to see people be able to have disposable income that they could spend in Lake Worth. So I wonder if anybody's working towards that end. I also, on that other presentation about they'll do all the work and you'll just get the benefit out because you're going to make so much money out of this, you won't know what to do with it all. This is about the third person, I think, that has come through this. I believe, and I think Scott Maxwell was here at the time when the people did the rewiring outside for this and the public safety complex. This work that was done in here with the windows and all, that was on one of these things too that's supposed to be, didn't cost us anything. And I don't know whether it did or it did not. And one of the last things before my buzzer goes off is, do you know that there's not a bathroom open down at the beach now after 5 o'clock at night? Because that's when the lifeguards go home and they close the one on the beach. And of course, now that summer's here, you get an awful lot of people down there after 5, and they're the minorities that you're talking about most of the time. So I would think that you would want to do something for them. I don't know exactly what, but I would want to do something. And in the last item on the consent agenda, to spend money on IT. I believe that is one of the things that was pointed out to us, that IT is going roughshod with their money. They're buying everything in sight. And this is for $38,000 plus $6,000 a year. All through the year we'll be getting things from IT where we have to renew all these plans that they have, all these programs that they buy. And I just wonder if we wouldn't tackle it. Thank you very much.
Jessica Plotkin, followed by Peggy Fisher. I'm sorry, Mark Perillo, and then Jessica Plotkin. Sorry about that.
Good evening, Mark Perillo, 401 North B Street. I have 2 issues before you. One nice and simple, sweet. One not so nice and simple. one of the only things holding up a wonderful CRA project for a fitness zone park and a Kaboom playground grant for the lot on H Street behind Compass is the fact that the commission hasn't waived the permitting fees yet. I was made aware of this at the last CRA meeting, so I found that a little distressing. So I'd like to come before you guys to request that as soon as possible, that happen, and maybe we can have a midsummer or early fall ribbon cutting at a beautiful new park that in an area that much needs that kind of improvement. And the second issue is I contemplated whether to address this because by addressing it, it gives it further validity and further exposure to a document that sincerely I don't believe deserves it, but against my better judgment, I'm going to go there. I'm going to read a quote from a reference letter on the internet submitted to a consulting firm for Hollandale Beach as a reference letter to Susan Stanton, where Commissioner Mulvihill states that Ms. Stanton, this is quoting from her words, Ms. Stanton was able to endure confrontation and conflict. Commissioner Maxwell bullied her relentlessly for 3 years behind closed doors. Politics played a significant role in Ms. Stanton's termination. Commissioner Maxwell threatened to fire her as soon as he acquired a majority. And the new commission was pro-union and set on undoing what she had accomplished. They wanted to outsource the water service and privatize the beach project. I find it embarrassing to come across a document written and submitted to a consulting firm to be submitted to another municipality here in Florida. There were ludicrous lies and accusations that were made as a feeble character assassination attempt of our Vice Mayor, Scott Maxwell. The letter carried no weight in getting the former city manager hired. It only showed evidence to the second time I witnessed Commissioner Maxwell opening the city up to litigation, the first time being the outrageous inaccuracy that Joe Kroll
Thank
cost
you,
the
Mr.
taxpayers $300,000. Enough already.
Yeah.
Jessica Plotkin, followed by Peggy Fisher.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Jessica Plotkin, North B Street. Couple things. First, as far as the $750,000 potential grant goes, one project that I don't know if would be eligible would be the upgrading of the railroad tracks, the eastern railroad tracks. Those all need to be done. Those all would be an enhancement to the existing tracks. So if that's something that could be investigated, that'd be great. Okay, moving on, of course, CDBG. I was, surprisingly, the lone attendee at last week's CDBG meeting. There was, actually it was me and 5 staff members, so it was wonderful having some FaceTime with them, and I appreciated all of their input and all of the opportunity to speak with them about what they kind of see as some of the projects that we can move forward on. A couple of things. One, the CDBG meetings were not on the city calendar, which would have been nice, because a lot of people do check the calendar. They don't check the post for meeting things. There's currently, as you guys know, a large pool of money out there that the city has, that it's not been spent, including $350,000 for sidewalks in the NSP2 area. I heard it mentioned that you're waiting on a street master plan. However, several years ago, I know that Joel Kroll did go forward and identify all of the areas in each of the districts that need sidewalks and need sidewalk replacements. Rather than reinvent the wheel, I don't see why, considering we've already moved forward on a portion of that plan, we can't already use that because it's already been done. And the money's been sitting there. It's been actually that $350,000 has been reallocated and reallocated and reallocated. It's been over a year since you guys, were able to move forward with that, which was wonderful. And I just don't want to wait another year waiting for another plan and before that money can be spent. Additionally, one thing that was not mentioned is demolitions. The city, between the 7th to 7th and the A to Dixie Highway, there's a number of properties that can be demolition that are, you're familiar with the problems that I think would make a good CDBG project. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy Fisher, followed by Tammy Panza.
Peggy Fisher, North Bay Street. Another thing noted in the grant program for the FDOT money is the restoration of historic buildings such as City Hall and the City Annex. It might be nice to have a handicapped accessible bathroom in this building for anyone who comes in this building who happens to be handicapped. But I really came up to ask about 2 very significant things going on in this city that we're not hearing very much about. One being the casino and beach project. We haven't heard anything. There's been a lot of press about leases and who may or may not have a lease and where we stand with leases, but we're not hearing anything. And I think we need to sort of have a more regular update to the public about what's going on with those projects. The other thing that's sort of concerning is what's happening with the utilities and getting out of our utility contract, and where do we stand on finding a replacement utility source. Again, it seems like it's a very big project and is not getting a lot of attention. We've got a lot of little things on our agenda tonight, but I'd like to see a meeting where we had fewer items and dealt with more of these big things that are majorly important to this city. Thank you.